Apologies for that. Looks like my power flickered for some reason, which was weird. Um, and very unfortunate, but let's see. Um, I may have to. It looks like it did save the previous stream. So this is going to be. Looks like it's probably going to be a separate one. So I may have to, when this is over, delete those two streams and then join them on my end and like create like a single video and then upload that. We'll see how that works. But yeah. So let me pull up all the stuff we had going before. We had we were creating the new compendium, if I do recall. We'll go ahead and do that. So we'll say ROA follower, actually shifting sans follower abilities. And this is an item one that we determined. So if we insert this, and I'm trying to remember how to go about doing this. I believe I can go into items now, which is here, create an item. And I'll say an action, and this is, we'll call this, what did we call it? Hazard. Where'd you go, NPC guy? Right there you are. It was Tomb Raider. Her up. It was called Hazard Spotter. So we'll call this the same thing. Actually, screw it. We'll just call it Trap Finder. Can I not copy this? You give me no choice. Can't copy from here either? Really? Really? There's got to be a way. Well, at any rate, it's short enough we can just do this. This is the description. I wish there was a way you could do macros in this, but I don't think there is. I'll have to look into that later, perhaps. There actually might be, but I don't know how to do it. So for now, we're just gonna hand wave it. We know that the treasure hunter automatically attempts a secret perception check to notice when they are within 10 feet of a hazard. What is actually, the way this is worded, we will call this. And then this is actually a passive ability. And there's no actions, action category, none. Just looks like there's any traits other than passive trait, which I don't know is actually a trait in here. Let's see. Yeah, it's not, so don't need to do that. So then what we can do to add this to the compendium is go under here to items, which you already have open. Move this out of the way. Actions. On a hazard spotter. We need to drag this over here. Cool. So now I should be able to just get rid of this. Yeah. And so in terms of abilities, that's all we care about right now. So what we're going to do here is now create a new actor, which is Foundry's version of a character. And I created this, actually we already created it. So we'll just edit this guy. And second, pull up, the old archives of building creatures. So if you recall, we kind of, for the most part, we just use these rules here from the Game Mastery Guide. She is going to, let's see, care about that right now. So for passives, we're going to throw in Hazard Spotter here. Yep, that's what we want. She is going to have, get rid of that, get rid of that. Go here to the compendium again, and I believe it's under equipment. We can say, actually, I think we could just even do it from here. Let's see what happens here. Oh, that's not what we wanted. Search. Oh, there's one of my power flick. Looks like we're getting a storm. I hope that doesn't blow my... I'm gonna have to go get my garbage cans out from out front. They might get blown away. Anyway, we could do a kukri search here. You know what? I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab those. I will be back shortly. Give me a second. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. So yeah, we've actually done it through this this interface before, so I had a breath, ran down there and back. So I added to the GM. Don't think that's what we wanted. How do we do this? There we go. Here's drag and drop. Cool. Sorry, out of breath. Ran outside, ran the trash cans in twice, and then ran back up here. And I'm an old fat guy, so. Whew. All right. So we got kukri. I don't know why it's red like that. It's interesting. But armor wise, probably it's leather armor. Makes sense. what? There's some leather armor, and we'll say this is equipped. This is equipped. I don't even know. I don't think you need to use this for weapons. It doesn't make any difference. And we'll worry about treasure and other equipment later. I wish I knew how to make the weapons automatically like go to an action as well. If you know how to do that in the chat, let me know. Looks like P. Razzo said, is every piece of information its own tab in Foundry? No one say every piece of information, but basically, yeah. Like, so you can also, I have this module in here as well you can pop out. So like if I want to, you can't see now because I only have one window thing there, but I just popped it out to a separate window so I could like look at it elsewhere. And I think I can pop it back in if I want. But yeah, most everything you open is in like a separate dialogue, I guess, by default. So it can get a little cumbersome sometimes, but you kind of get used to it. So we got the ability, we got the equipment. Now at this point, we just need to go. Oh man, lights just flicker a little bit. We just need to go through the basic building creatures thing and flesh this person out. So to start with, you know, she's a medium creature. She's human, so she's going to have a speed of 25. So we can start there and say, I'm trying to remember all the things here. So it's by default it's 25. So we got that. Traits we'll deal with later. Ability modifiers. So this one is interesting. You kind of have these high, moderate, low, and extreme, but you don't really typically use extreme much. Categories in this table here. And just as you would for like a monster creature, you kind of just picked at what makes sense. It does say few creatures use the extreme column. A powerful, dedicated spellcaster might use an extreme spellcasting statistic, or a prematurely charming creature like a succubus, or sorry, preternaturally charming creature like a succubus or nymph might have an extreme charisma modifier. However, the most common way extreme numbers are used is for really big, really strong creatures. This is like Tarrasques and shit like that. Jesus, what is going on out there? Someone's got a really loud motorcycle. Anyway, this happens with only large or larger creatures from 1st to 5th, or only huge and larger creatures from 6th to 9th, blah, blah, blah. So I think there was actually, if I recall, there's somewhere in this here. Yeah, use high for the creature's best ability modifiers, moderate for the ones they're okay at, and low for the rest. So for a treasure hunter, you know, they're kind of a roguish class, right? So we're going to want to probably give Dex and Wisdom to be their... So Dex would probably be their highest because we want them to be useful in combat, and they're probably roguish, so we're going to do that. And if you look here at this table here, she's level 1, going to be level 1. So we want to give her a +4 in Dex, roughly. So we'll do that. We'll say 4. And then we want her... She's a treasure hunter, right? So she should have a pretty good perception. So we'll give her a +3 to perception. And... for strength, she's probably got a bit of muscles, but nothing too crazy. So we'll give her a +1 there. Intelligence, she's probably rather intelligent, being someone who deals with traps and whatnot all the time. We'll give her a +2 there. And then actually, I'll give her a +1 here as well, so I don't get too crazy. Give her a +3 for charisma. And what's the low? For level 1 was +1, so we'll give her a +1 for con as well. Or that'll give us a little extra HP to stay alive a bit. You typically don't want to give con dump stats because they are going to be for followers, because they are going to be uh, lower levels than the rest of your party, so they're already going to be lower in HP than most of them anyway. So you typically want to give them one, or at least one or two in the con category, depending on whether you want them to be frontline fighters or not, especially at lower levels. So we got those stats there. For perception at level 1, you typically want to go, I believe moderate is what they recommend. Yeah, I think moderate is probably where we want to be, especially for someone who's, fairly good at wisdom. Might even go a bit higher and give her a +8 instead of a +7, but not +80. Good God. Languages, of course, common. She does have a +1 int, so might want to give her one more, like maybe, I don't know. She catfolk and other I think it's called like Amaran, I think, is the catfolk language in Pathfinder 2e, if I remember correctly. I'll stick with that for now. I think that's what it is. I'll have to look that up later. There's a lot of catfolk in the shifting sands of the Red Desert, so I think we'll probably go with that. She's also probably interacted with a lot of catfolks, and the catfolk tend to be more roguish in my setting anyway, because they're quite curious creatures. Skills. So typically, I don't like to go crazy with skills and like give them different proficiencies and everything. I like just give them like a handful, especially at level 1 or so, like maybe 4 skills that they're trained in. So I mean, definitely acrobatics, definitely stealth, definitely survival. One more, maybe. I don't know, maybe something like occultism would be useful for her, since or thievery. She's a treasure hunter, probably thievery. Um, yeah, we'll go thievery. That'll be a fun one. Um, she needs to disarm traps and whatnot too, right? So that's typically a thievery skill. So in terms of what the ranks are, there's not, other than the fact that most creatures don't really have an extreme skill, there's not really any like formal rules around how many of each they have. So I typically go by whatever the ability modifier is of their skill. I kind of like use that to roughly determine. So like stealth, right? She's a high dex. She's probably going to have a high stealth skill. So for level 1, it's a +7, right? So we'll play +7 here. Oops, shit, I didn't mean to do that. And then same with like wisdom, right? So I guess survival would be the wisdom one. Actually, this would also be 7. Did it again. I keep doing that. I hate that enter closes the window on these particular windows. You might give them a moderate for survival, so like maybe a 6. And then acrobatics, also dex based, but she's not the most she's probably got acrobatics, but not crazy with it. So we'll say like 6 years old. In fact, we'll probably say she's only like yeah, that's right. It kind of sucks that all of her skills are around dex, so they're all around the same thing. But we'll go with that for now. She probably also has like a treasure, or we'll say, kind of lore skill makes sense. What do you think, chat? What kind of lore skill do you think makes sense for a treasure hunter? Can't speak. Maybe like relic lore or something like that. I mean, you could say treasure lore, but that's kind of a too vague in my opinion. We'll leave off the lore skill for now and try to come up with something. I do think being a treasure hunter, she should have some kind of lore at her disposal, but we'll deal with that later. Why did it not update acrobatics and survival though? Did I not commit that, or what happened there? Attacks, we already established she had a kukri, and I wonder if I can just do this. Put the compendium again, equipment. I wonder if I can drag an item here into her attack. No, it does not work that way. And I hope it, and it did do it. I think it added, oh, she does have 2 kukris actually, because she dual wields. So we'll leave that there. Attacks, we'll have to do this the hard way, I guess. Or rather, I guess I could, I think I can do actions. I can do strike. No, that doesn't work either. Son of a biscuit. I have to do this the hard way. Okay. So we know she has a kukri, and we know kukris do what? I believe kukris are 1d6, if I recall correctly, of slashing. So go back in the main tab here. We will edit this guy. Detail, I'll call this kukri. Her attack modifier is going to be, skip down here. We kind of skip some stuff, but we'll come back to those. We'll say using a high attack bonus in combat creature fire types, they usually have a high damage. A creature couldn't. We'll say a +7 for her attack bonus here. And for the damage part, we'll do 1d6 of slashing. And let's do this. Oh, interesting. The sidebar got screwed up. Okay. So kukri. Do a little search. We got searching archives of Nethys always takes a little bit. Ruin lore. Oh, that's a good one. P Razzo. Actually, I might go with that. That's a good idea. I will add that in a second. Squint. So it's got the agile, finesse, trip, and uncommon traits. So we'll go back here and add agile, finesse, trip, and uncommon, which isn't even listed here. So we'll just go with that for now. It doesn't have any poison or anything yet, so. Oh, trip is listed here. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Like that. And then I think it's all we need there. So that's done. And you can always, hit it with the map -4 if you want to do a second attack, or map negative if you want to do a third attack, which you probably should never do that. And I think as far as attacks, that's about it. So then going back to the building creatures, we might go scroll back up here. And I think the thing we skipped was armor class was the next thing. So as I mentioned in the, as I will mention in the kind of the blog post or the article that details how to do this. Typically, since you're going to be adding armor class bonuses from equipment, you typically want to use the low the low part here. So like for level 1, I'd do a 13 and then add whatever bonuses from armor on top of that, which would usually give you around a moderate or so. Um, so like uh, in the case of this one though, she is rather dexterous. So I might actually choose to start with a moderate armor class instead for her. And then add or maybe something in between. It's like might start with like a plus 14. Or sorry, I mean I started with a 14 armor class, and then she would get the plus 1 from the leather armor, which would give her a plus 15, which is moderate. So I think I'll do that. So that would give her 15 total. And then for I think the next thing is saving throws. So you typically want to have like one high, one medium, one low, somewhere around there. Her high is undoubtedly going to be reflex. Um, so we'll give her a plus 10 to reflex. And her will is going to be her medium, which I believe is a 9, if I recall correctly. No, plus 7 for moderate, and low is plus 4. So we'll give her a plus 4 to fort and a plus 7 to will. Because she is, you know, her wisdom score is the next highest stat she has. So that takes care of that. Hit points is the last big thing, I believe, since she's not going to have any like crazy immunities or weaknesses or resistances. So, I mean, you can kind of play around with hit points. She's, you know, a rogue, so she's going to have somewhere between low and moderate hit points, I would say. I think in terms of like player characters, so Nethys is not French. What do you mean by that, QT20? Did I have it in French mode or something when I pulled up Nethys? Yeah, if you look at like the rogue class compared to the other classes, I believe the rogue starts with an 8 HP for the class. Let me double check that. Not ancestries, on classes. These are not in alphabetical order. Am I crazy? Yeah, 8 plus your con mod. So that's kind of middle of the ground in terms of in comparison to other classes. So I would probably use moderate HP here. And since her con is kind of meh, I think it's like a plus 1 right now, I'd probably just use the middle, so say 20 HP, or maybe even go to say 19 HP. But you know, she's pretty tough. You know, she's survived quite a lot in her time delving dungeons and whatnot. So she's gonna get 20. And she doesn't get any spells because she is not a spellcaster. You know, I think I'm gonna actually break my rule here for her and go ahead and give her sneak attack as well. Do I want to do that? Let's see what happens if oops. What's what's a monster creature that has sneak attack in their stat block? I'm curious how they did this in other creatures. So the chat says, "Pardon my French, mon ami." Oh, they're just speaking French now. Given Giving free sneak. Oh, I'm telling. Do it. I'm totes gonna end the game now. Make it harder. Yeah, QT20 is in this game, so I trust that you won't use any of this knowledge to your advantage. Wink, wink. What is a? Come on, there's got to be a creature in the bestiary that has sneak attack, right? Can I search sneak attack in Nethys and will it tell me? Is Nethys smart enough to do that? As soon as it searches through. Ratfolk has one, you said? Ooh. Oh, wait, here we go. Tengu Sneak. Huh. Interesting. I wonder if the people who made the Pathfinder 2e module and Foundry just didn't implement sneak attack correctly to work the same way. So it looks like I just need to make an action called sneak attack. It does 1d6 extra precision damage to a flat-footed creature. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any, like... Doesn't look like there's any, let's see if they do it different where. You said Ratfolk had one. Well, Kobold Scout has it, that'll work. Yeah, it looks like, that's interesting. So I guess in Foundry it's just implemented differently, so... I guess I would just, is there like a sneak attack action? Let's see if, take a I have this up already. Where'd you go, actions? No, there's not. Just sneak. So I guess I have to create one manually. So I will do action here. Edit, details, action type, action, actions 1, action category, offensive. Okay, I'm not gonna... How do I implement sneak attack in... I know what I can do here. Let's see. Bestiary 1, I think, is where the Kobold Scout is. How do they do it for this guy? Interesting. So they just created like a separate sneak attack for, and then let you roll it. Clicking that. I mean, I guess I could do that as well. But then how does this... This is a little cheat mode in Foundry. If I like go to my custom compendium, I can then drag this guy in here, and then I can edit all this stuff because it's no longer part of the read-only compendium. So if I look at how they implemented this, it looks like they literally just added it to the description. So I'm just gonna, what happened? Copy this macro here and call it a day. Oops, that's the wrong one. Add here. Huh. Think that'll work? That should work, yeah. Oops, except that I don't want Kobold. And I will do the same thing. That's a little inconvenient. I wonder if they have, what the the hell happened to this? I wonder if they have plans to make that a bit more convenient in the future. I'm going to have to check the GitLab repository for this and see what the dealio is there. But that'll work for now. And yeah, there's no spells. Oh, I wanted to add the rune. What was it? What did you say it was? Ruin lore. This is what I wanted to add there. And we'll give her her intelligence is +1, so let's like a plus, I don't know, +4 or +5 here. It didn't save. Nice. There we go. All right, and get rid of this guy. And I think that's it for that one. Got speed, got strikes, don't need spells. Got the abilities. Oh, the traits. Well, she needs the humanoid trait post show. So we will. She's a unique person. What's her alignment? Ooh, that's a fun one. She's definitely not lawful. She's not a bad person, though. I'd say neutral good, maybe. Chaotic good, even. What do you think, chat? What would a treasure hunter be, alignment-wise, in your opinion? See, P. Razzo says, if a creature is flat-footed to your attack, deal extra precision damage. Yeah, that's what sneak attack is, but I was confused why the sneak attack ability in the compendium and foundry didn't include the damage bit on it, which is kind of weird, even though it does apparently in the actual uses and the creatures that have it. So, okay, neutral good. Okay, we'll go with that. That sounds good to me. Now, if I remember correctly, yeah, here's where it is. This is not immediately obvious when you hover over until you hover over it. But if it's a human and a humanoid, of course, that gives you your recall knowledge stuff. It's funny that you need an incredibly hard society check in order to recall knowledge on a human, which seems funny to me, but whatever, I guess. She's a human, so she doesn't have any special senses. Oh, it's funny. I actually never saw this bit about this would be a. I might read this to see if it influences my follower companion rules at all. I never saw. Oh, never mind. It's not what I thought it was. I'll have to read through this a bit more. But anyway, so like rogue, surprise attack. These are some examples of feats you might use for a rogue person. But see, this is too convoluted in my opinion for a follower NPC. So like if you're building an NPC that didn't grow, maybe. But I feel like for a follower NPC, this is too much micromanagement that players and GMs just shouldn't have to do. So I think the way I'm approaching it is actually easier to use. Recall knowledge, human, society, hard. Have I seen you before? Yeah, it's a good point, QD20. I don't know if you would really consider. I guess I think rogue would be more appropriate than swashbuckler in her case, probably. I don't know. I could be swung either way there. But I think that's actually it for her. Other than her name, we still need a name. And I think because I'm already planning a sand elf, which isn't, I don't think is a thing in Pathfinder, but it is in my world. It's basically an elf that lives in the Red Desert. Their skin is tinged. I'll show you an example of a. You've been to the website, you've already seen this. So I'm going to be making a dancer NPC, but a sand elf is essentially this: darker skin, blonde hair, or maybe brown hair usually. Can have a wider range of hair colors, can have a wider range of eye colors, but typically darker skin than your typical elf, because of the sun, the time they're in the sun. But because I'm already going to have one of her, I think I'm going to actually make, and a lot of the NPCs I create for this settings, because it's where it is, fall in this kind of line where they're more Middle Eastern in appearance, and culture. I think I'm going to actually make this one different, but I don't know what yet. But I want her to be more exotic relative to the location that the thing is in. I don't know. I need to ponder that. So I might hold off on giving her a name yet until I figure that out. Because I think that and her background, like her experience and her not background mechanically, but her background is in, like, you know, what she was before she was an adventurer, and also what her personality traits are, might influence her. A sand elf is a self. I mean, she is herself, yeah. I guess you could say that. So, but I think that because of the power flicker and all of the rambling at the beginning, that ended up taking longer than I hoped to. It is 9:30 p.m. here. I've been going for a little over an hour, I think, now. And I think we'll probably call it here on this. But I think I want to start doing this more often, because this is kind of fun to interact with people. And I want to talk with Jackie off stream about what they thought of YouTube in relation to Twitch. Definitely let us know in the comments of this video. Like I said, since the power cut out in the middle and the stream kind of got split into two, we'll probably upload it as a two-parter. I don't know. I might. I'm torn. I don't know if I should just change the name of this one afterwards to part 2, or if I should delete both of them. And I have them recorded as well, so I delete both of them from YouTube and then join them together in like Adobe Premiere and upload them as one whole thing. I need to play with that idea. But regardless, let us know in the comments of one of these videos what you guys, if you prefer YouTube stream, if you prefer just to stick with Twitch, if you prefer both. I mean, both is an option. We just have to pay for it, which is something I'm trying to avoid if possible. But yeah, let us know what your thoughts there. We're interested to hear. And like I said, I'm going to talk with Jackie off stream and see what their thoughts are. Now that they've kind of experienced the chat side of things and how it compares like Twitch and whatnot. So QT20 said make it a two-parter. Okay, I can do that. I'll just, once this is done and processed on YouTube, I'll just change the name to part 2 or something. So we can do that. Cool. Well, I appreciate everyone who came out for this. Like I said, I'll start doing these more often. This was fun. And I think that it gives people not only an insight into how I prep for games, but also if someone's never played with or seen Foundry, it gives them a look into Foundry that you don't get to see very often on YouTube. I know when I was learning Foundry, I was, you know, there's the YouTube videos that the developers of Foundry put out, but they're typically pretty targeted and very specific and not super all-encompassing. I think this gives a more holistic view of what it's like to run a Pathfinder 2e game in Foundry. So as we start to plan and prep different things, you might get a different views of different aspects of the system. So Cool. Thanks everyone for coming out. Till next time, happy gaming.